Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iPadOS 18. iPadOS 18 is out around the world at the same time for everyone, as long as you have a supported device. So what that means is an iPad mini 5th gen and later, iPad 7th gen and later, iPad Air 3rd gen and later, iPad Air M2, iPad Pro 11-inch 1st gen and later, iPad Pro 12.9-inch 3rd gen and later, and iPad Pro M4, both 11 and 13-inch. Now, there's a lot of changes in this particular update specific to iPad. I covered tons of different updates in my iOS 18 is out what's new video. Many of those same changes carry over to iPad as well, but we'll only cover what's specific and new to the iPad here with the addition of a few different things. Apple Intelligence is actually coming a little bit later to M1 iPads and later, so M1, M2, and M4. As far as new features, well, like I said, this includes many of the changes in iOS 18. If we want to customize our home screen here, go to Customize, we can switch to dark mode icons that have been updated not only on Apple's apps, but also on third-party apps as well. We could select a tint that tries to match the overall background. We can lighten the background, switch it to automatic so it changes based on light and dark mode, or switch to large icons without the titles underneath them. So lots of changes here, the same lock screen changes, and much more. We also have the control center where you can fully customize it and you have different pages of controls. You can press and hold, add a control, or you can just delete them altogether if you just want simple sort of controls like we had before. So if you want to fully delete them, you can do that. Then you're back to one page of controls. So it's really up to you how you want to customize this. Now, the first thing they've updated has to do with a new tab bar that carries across much of the OS. And on the home screen, if we go into the App Store, you'll see that we have a new bar along the top. This is an easy way to select between different categories, and this is supposed to carry across to many different apps, such as TV, but it's not there just yet, and also music, which it's available in later beta updates, such as iPadOS 18.1, but it's not available yet on this version. They have added it to news, so if we go into news, you'll see this button here in the upper left. Tap on this button and you'll get the new tab bar here. If you want to switch between different things such as sports or puzzles, you can do that, or you can go back to the old view as well. You can also customize this, so if you press and hold, you can then customize and bring in different things that you might want to see. So maybe we want to bring in puzzles, we can just drag that in here in the top and it shows up. Or we could go to shared with you, do the same thing. So you can customize this however you want, and as you add additional things, you can scroll back and forth. So if you want to use that, it's available and it's coming to more apps in the future. Something Apple's added that they haven't added in a very long time is calculator. They've finally added a calculator to the iPad. Now, not only a basic calculator, but they really went all out and added a bunch of different features. So if we press this button here in the bottom left, we can select between different types of calculators, such as scientific. We also have a portrait mode for that, as well as math notes. Then if we go back from math notes, we have the option to convert. We now can convert things such as currencies, data, energy, fuel, length, power. So if you want to put in horsepower, convert that to kilowatts or watts, pressure, speed, maybe knots to convert it to maybe feet per second or something else, or meters per second. So 856, you'll see that it will actually calculate that in real time. Maybe we want the temperature and we want to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. We can then do that, or Celsius to Kelvin. You can then select whatever you want and convert it. We also have the option for history. So maybe we'll hit equals here. It will then select and save whatever we've calculated. Press and hold, and then you can copy the expression, copy the result, or just delete it altogether. So maybe you have a ton of calculations you're doing. You can then save them and then revisit them later, copy them into something else that you're working on. Now, Math Notes is one of the biggest updates, and it's very impressive on the iPad. So if we go into Math Notes here, and within Notes, if we maybe write out something we want to solve, so 4 plus 4 equals something very simple, you'll see it writes it out, and it tries to write it out in the style that you actually write. We could do something more complex where that's an 8. We'll see if it recognizes it. Divided by 4 plus 7, 3 plus 2 equals. And then it will solve that as well based on whatever expression you write. If we go into the history here, you'll see that it's a handwritten note, and then we can copy paste that, delete it, or do whatever we want with it. So we could pin that note, get more information, and then actually change things that are within the note itself. And this works just like Notes. If we go into Notes itself, we can do the exact same calculations here. So if we go in, we can do 8 plus 8 equals, or whatever you want. Not only can you solve it here, but you can do complex graphs. So if we go back, we can even do something else. We don't necessarily have to have the pencil, but if we go in and maybe type, we'll say house equals, so we'll go in here and equals maybe 1400. Then we can say car equals 600 or 500. Then we can go down and say car plus house. So we'll find plus house. And then we can go back and do equals, and it will recognize both of the values and calculate them together. So Math Notes is incredibly powerful and has a ton of different options here for that. Now I have a new note and it says this is a new note, and then I have new updates. If we go to new updates, maybe we'll select this, select the word here. We'll go to our options up here at the top. We have a couple different options here. We can change the overall color of it, maybe make it blue. In addition to this, we can make it a heading. And by making it a heading, if we type anything underneath it, so maybe iOS 18, and then maybe iPadOS 18, it will automatically make it a heading. Now that it's a heading and there's a down arrow here, we can then hide anything that's underneath the heading itself. And one of my favorite features of Notes, and sort of built into the OS, just like iOS, is if we go to the attachment icon, we can then record audio. Not only can we record audio, but we can transcribe it in real time. So turn on this button, we'll tap transcribe or record. This is a new note about iPadOS 18 and its abilities to record and transcribe and in real time. You'll see it actually recognizes that. Tap done, it shows up in the note. You can play it back, go into it, see the actual text, copy and paste it. And even if you're recording, so we'll go back and record, we'll do a new one here. Maybe a new recording, hit record. While it's recording, you can swipe down, you can go back into anything else and it will continue recording, go back in, swipe down here, and you can continue taking notes. So if you want to use this in class, you can do that while you're actually taking notes for the class while recording it. And then you can go back later and revisit what was said. It's super helpful. Of course, you could save this however you want, and you could use this for pretty much anything where you need to record audio and transcribe it on the fly. Another thing we have is called Smart Script, where it sort of tries to recreate my handwriting. But not only does it do that, it sort of cleans it up to be more legible. So this is a note by Zollotech. You'll see it's cleaning it up on its own in real time. Watch it change here. It will change it and then sort of clean it up so it looks a little different. Now you don't have to have this. If you want to go into your options, you can turn it off so it doesn't auto refine your handwriting. But if you want it to refine what you're doing using machine learning, it can do that. So if you're really sort of messy at writing, and we can say iPadOS 18. And again, it will sort of refine it in real time as it sees fit or as needed. So sometimes you'll see it right here. Again, I have that enabled. If you turn it off, it won't work. If I want to go back, we can delete all this and it will actually unrefine it as well if you don't want it to be refined. So you'll see it here. When we turn off the toolbar, you'll see we can go back and forth to what it looked like before and after. So if you want to use that, that's something new that they've included. It can also correct spelling while you're writing using the pencil. And if you press and hold, you can actually move the whole word around. Just press and hold on whatever word you want. And then if we maybe spell this, we'll see what it says here. It can actually change that in real time and then correct the spelling. So you'll see it actually has options for these, this, and tests. Then it corrects it in my own handwriting. So again, this is really incredible with machine learning, with Smart Script, but if you don't want to use it at all, you can disable it completely. Freeform gets similar updates. All of the same features carry across. So if you have a board here and maybe you want to solve an equation, 8 plus 8 divided by 4 equals, it will try and solve that just like it will in Notes and then writes it in your own handwriting. One thing they've updated is maybe we have a board here and then we want to write way over here. So we'll zoom way in over here. Maybe we'll write out Zollotech. It will again try and refine that. And after it's done that, maybe you want to get back to where you were before. Well, now you have to zoom back out. Let's remove this here, zoom back out and try and find where you left off way up in that part of the board. Well, what we can do now is maybe we'll zoom into this part of the board. We can now create a scene. Down here in this button, we can tap on it here. You'll see we can sort of shrink that, but we can go in here, add a scene. Then we can actually maybe make another scene over here, where we created the word Zollotech, then go in here, add a scene. Now we can quickly jump back and forth. So if we go back in, scene 1, we're back where we were. Scene 2, we're back again to where we were before. They've also refined maybe making shapes in here. So if you're drawing in real time, press and hold after you've drawn. You'll feel some haptic feedback with the Apple Pencil Pro, and it will create a shape. You can do the same thing with maybe a rectangle, maybe a circle. There we go. And you'll see you can do that with shapes just like you can in other apps, but now it carries across to Freeform. We also have alignment options in the upper left. If we go to alignment settings, we can then have snap to grid. So lots of new helpful features if you want to use Freeform. One thing that's really impressive that they've added is the ability to control someone else's screen and help them along using FaceTime. So of course it has to be someone you know and trust, but you can actually do that. And in order to do that, we'll just place a FaceTime call. I'll bring in another iPad here as well so I can show you. I have FaceTime going on both devices, and if I tap on this one, you'll see we have the option to share. I can actually ask the other iPad to share, so I've requested it. Then we'll tap on share and it will share my display. Give it just a moment to connect. Now it's here. Tap on it, and if I swipe home on this display, you'll actually see it here. So if we go in, you'll see it's right here. Tap, make it larger. And then in here, we can actually maybe circle something if we're trying to help someone out. So maybe they need to activate the camera. We can circle it, and then it will just sort of fade away as needed. Circle something else, and again, it will fade away. So it's a really helpful option, and you even can control the screen if your contact hasn't been added to your iPad recently. So we can go to allow, then we'll allow someone to actually control the display. Now it's giving remote control access, and I can swipe through the display in real time, helping someone out. If maybe they need to go into something such as calculator, we can do that, swipe home, and as I press the button here, you'll actually see it depress over here. So this works very well, especially if you're trying to help someone out. There's a little bit of lag from time to time, but in general, it's very, very good. If we go into podcasts, you'll see here that we can just walk someone through anything that we might be helping them out with. If we go maybe back home, then again, we can turn this off, end the remote control, and then again, circle what we need to show them how to do something. So very, very helpful, and one of the biggest features this year that I think sort of Apple didn't emphasize very well. We also have some updates in Safari. Similar to what we have on iOS, we also have them in iPadOS with an all-new menu here that shows information such as highlights on the page, even videos that are on the page you can play here, and you'll see it says Safari intelligently displays summaries, previews, and suggestions from the web, nearby locations, and more. So we can turn that on if you haven't already, and then we can also hide distracting items. Select something, and we can make it completely go away on a web page. Scroll down or select anything specifically, and it will just get rid of it off the display entirely. We can cancel that, and they'll just all come right back. Also, if we go to a different article here, maybe we'll go to this one, go to our menu. We can also listen to the page, and we can listen to it in the background now. So if we listen to it, it'll start playing.
Apple Intelligence.
So we'll swipe home. It continues to play in the background as I turn it back up. So we'll go back in. You'll see that it's playing, and we have our options here. We can pause it, of course, and we have a new reader as well. So the reader is a little bit nicer. We can see it so it's less distracting across the entire display. Some really nice options, and there's additional options for formatting here as well within the reader. Photos gets a full redesign just like we have on iOS 18. We can scroll up, see all our photos. We have better search. And as we scroll down, we can go to customize and reorder. We can add different albums, remove albums if we want. Go back in, add them. You'll see they pop right back in here. Add trips, recent days, featured photos, whatever you'd like. You can customize it to however you'd like to see your overall photo collection. We can go to pinned collections, and we have a subset of modifications we can do here, where we could reorganize this with selfies, screenshots, favorites. We can add recent edits, trips, memories, and more. So we have all of that customization in a separate area right here as well. Files also get some features that I think really are very helpful if you use external drives. With an external drive, if we go ahead and plug it in, we'll plug in USB-C here. We'll wait for it to show up on the left. Once it actually shows up, press and hold on it, and you can actually erase it and format it to whatever format you'd like. So you can use Apple formats, Windows or MS-DOS formats, and then change it to whatever you'd like, format it so it will work with multiple devices. So if you want to do that, you can completely erase it and then maybe use it with Final Cut Pro, use it with an iPhone like you normally would. iCloud Drive is loading, but you can now just press and hold on a file to keep it downloaded to your device. So some really nice updates all throughout, but the majority of the iPad updates come to Notes, Math Notes with Apple Pencil. Now, I've been using iOS 18 and iPadOS 18 since the initial betas, and in general, it's been pretty stable. Battery life has been decent overall, and this seems to be a fairly good update. So if you're wondering if you should install iPadOS 18, I would recommend it at this point, especially if you have one of the latest M1 or later iPads. It's very fast, and of course later on we'll get Apple Intelligence features. So that's pretty much everything major with iPadOS 18. Not a huge update unless you include all the iOS 18 updates as well. Then it's pretty significant. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.